How's it going? I am live here. Thank you for joining me. And since it is noon, I am going to say a prayer really quick. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Sophia Yah Aika. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Sophia Yah Aika. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Sophia Yah Aika. Please help us to learn and discuss the truth of our reality and continue to become the best versions of ourselves possible, and ultimately help us to create a better world that will help our souls to flourish and ultimately help to make you both happy, right? The mother and father are, I mean, if you are a creator, right, you're going to either be happy with your creation or you are going to be sad or ashamed or disappointed. Our creator is watching us, and he's either feeling either one of those, right? When he looks down and sees a bunch of human clowns and confused, lost, degenerate, corrupt souls, like that is something that makes him sad. And also, the mother, she's all physical matter, and like a good mother, she ultimately does want what is best for us, but she does. Hey, how's it going? I like that nice bright shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm kind of bright today.
Yeah, it's nice. It matches the sun.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going? So what were we talking about? The mother, like a good mother, wants what is best for us, but this realm, this reality that we are in, ultimately, we have free will, and the parents, right, our heavenly father and our earthly mother, they allow free will ultimately. I keep saying ultimately, because Sophia is seeking wisdom, and that is what we are here for. And they both know that there's only so much wisdom to be gained in a Garden of Eden type setting. And having free will, being able to choose good or evil, comes with obviously the possibility of humans choosing to do evil and creating a realm that is what we see around us, right? This hell that we are currently experiencing. And what we do. Hey, Cully, how's it going? Cully says, hello, gorgeous. Creator Soldier says, I call them bastards. I'm not 100% sure who you are referring to there. Aaron says he is good. Thanks. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Glad you guys could all be here with me today. And yeah, so let's actually back up for a second. I ultimately want to talk about Sophia and Yah and Satan today, but I also, hey Bob, how's it going? Bob says, hi Inanna, I'm here on time for once. Welcome. I wanted to read really quick the Gospel of the Holy 12 election for today. There are some people here that want to hear from this, so I've been trying to do election every week. I've missed a few weeks, and I did the Essene Gospel of Peace book 1 last week, which was really awesome. If you didn't get to see that or hear it, I definitely encourage you to check that out. But this election is about John the Baptist. So now in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Pontius Pilate being governor of Judea, and Herod being tetrarch of Galilee, Caiaphas being the high priest, and Annas chief of the Sanhedrin, the word of God came unto John, the son of Zacharias, in the wilderness. And he came into all the country about Jordan, preaching the baptism of repentance for the remission of sins. As it is written in the prophets, behold, I send my messenger before thy face, who shall prepare thy way before thee. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Holy One, make straight the paths of the anointed. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways shall be made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair, and a girdle of the same about his loins. And his meat was the fruit of the locust tree. I don't know about you, but I grew up hearing that John the Baptist was like eating locusts, not the fruit of the locust tree, which makes a lot more sense. You're thinking, this guy eats bugs and you want me to like follow him? I don't know. Sorry about that, but eating bugs is just really gross. So his meat was the fruit of the locust tree. then went out to Jerusalem and all Judea and all the region around about Jordan, and were baptized of him in the Jordan, confessing their sins. And he said to the multitude that came forth to be baptized of him, O generation of disobedient ones, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth, therefore, fruit worthy of repentance, and begin not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Every tree, therefore, which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. And the wealthier people asked him, saying, What shall we do then? He answereth and said unto them, He that hath 2 coats, let him impart to him that hath none, and he that hath food, let him do likewise. Then it came also certain tax gatherers to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them, Exact no more than that which is appointed to you, and be merciful after your power. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do? And he said unto them, Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with sufficient wages. And I actually have this next part highlighted in my book. And to all he spake, saying, Keep yourselves from blood and things strangled, and from dead bodies of birds and beasts, and from all deeds of cruelty, and from all that is gotten of wrong. Think ye the blood of beasts and birds will wash away sin? I tell you, nay. Speak the truth. Be just, be merciful to one another and to all creatures that live, and walk humbly with your God. And as the people were in expectation, and all men mused in their hearts of John, whether he were the Christ or not, John answered, saying unto all of them, I indeed baptize you with water, but one mightier than I cometh, the latchet of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose. He shall also baptize you with water and with fire, whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor, and will gather the wheat into his garner, but the chaff he will burn with fire unquenchable. And many other things in his exhortation preached he unto the people. I obviously love the part that I highlighted, talking about the avoidance of consuming blood and the flesh of slain beasts. And obviously anyone who knows me, who watches my videos, knows that that's one of the things that I love about this gospel, is that, you know, they're vegan, and it is important to the Essenes what you not only put in, but what comes out, right? It's not only what you put in that defiles you. The mainstream Christianity wants to say that it's only what comes out that defiles you, and what goes in does not. And if you just think about this logically, like if you sit there and eat a bunch of poison, you're obviously going to defile your body. What you put in is either going to purify you or corrupt you. And if you are eating junk, then obviously it is going to defile you. So just thinking about it logically, you can conclude that both matter, right? So anyways, I will continue reading more of that in the future, but let's get into the topic of today. Like Anne asked, who is Sophia? That is definitely on the, let me get rid of this. Spammer. Okay. So one point in time, a long time ago, before, you know, all of the souls that are in existence today came into existence, there was a point in time called source. Like, I know a lot of people say that source is an entity, but for me, source is a point in time. And after that point in time, you know, one became many. So there's no going back. It's not something that we can revert to, because you have to get every soul to basically agree to go out of existence to get back to one. And yes. So from that original point in time, there was obviously going to be an original group of souls, right? The first souls to come into existence when there wasn't any before. And since then, right, there are souls that still exist. There are souls that are new, and there are souls that have gone out of existence. Souls can ultimately choose whether they continue to exist or not. And like before Sophia became this physical reality that we are in, well, I guess, and even now, there are a lot of souls that were very bored and, not having a purpose for existence and being bored to death, and literally their souls ceasing to exist because they don't have a purpose for life. They don't see a purpose for existence. Or even now, when you become so corrupt, a soul can only become so corrupt before it ceases to exist. The light can only get so dark before it goes out, right? There are some exceptions to that, and these souls should really be pitied because they can become really, 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 really dark and still continue to exist. And the fact that they can go down to the depths of this darkness and revel in it and continue to do what they're doing, right? It's sad. So the souls on average have like a frequency. It's not that everyone is either high or low vibration. It's kind of like, like a wave almost. So just like that, our souls is kind of important for what's coming here. If you saw my video on the origins of the soul, it was a channel to me that like our souls, when they first come into existence, it's kind of like creatures under the dome here come into existence as like a worm, like a spermy type shape, a worm, and then over time it becomes something else, right? Like humans don't stay wormy. I mean, I guess it might be a better perspective if you see humans as wormy or like a sperm type thing, but we develop different characteristics over time away from that, in just the same way that a soul can take different shapes over time. That's a whole different subject that we won't get into right this second. But anyways, so Sophia was one of those souls that came into existence way, way, way at the beginning. And she is the only one that I know of that has actually become a realm, become physical matter. And that's by will alone, right? Like she willed herself to be this realm. And what is driving her is wisdom. She's seeking wisdom. So she comes into existence. The cosmic ocean is outside of this realm, and I don't know how big the cosmic ocean is. I mean, I've never measured it. I don't know these details about it, but there's space up there where space as in like area, not as in space with globe-tarded nonsense. Like there's room up there where souls that are not bound by physical matter, they can do things with their powers, right? When a soul is not limited by physical matter, they can do all sorts of things like that. We're not limited by being in this physical realm. Some souls can like create a similar type realm like this. They can create something that's not actually made of matter, but they've tried to do different things to entertain themselves, and a lot of things outside this. But anyways, the point is that Sophia wanted to become this physical realm, and she created Yah to be the creator of this world. He was literally brought into existence to be the creator, like born for the role, right? And according to the Gnostics, well, I would say some Gnostics, some of the Gnostic texts, they have been really corrupted and taken anti-Yah, even anti-physical matter, anti-sex, like don't reproduce, they disconnect from the physical world and kind of paint it in a very negative light. I personally am not with those. I do consider myself a Gnostic, but meaning that, Gnosis is a knowledge of spiritual mysteries. And I ultimately follow the truth, not texts that are labeled Gnostic texts. It's not like not like a religion in that manner for me. But anyways, the Gnostic texts take a negative view of our creator, and some even go as far to call him an abortion, abomination type words. And I actually did fall prey to these types of ideas when I started to question the Bible and learn about the Gnostics and the text left out of the Bible and all of this wisdom that has been hidden from us. But now I've kind of come back full circle, and it's like this world is created as, well, it's like, first of all, if you want to get upset with anything, like, yeah, Yah is the creator, but he is allowing the free will because of what Sophia wants. So if you're going to be mad at one of them, it's like Sophia has the ultimate say. Maybe if it was up to Yah, he might just only have a paradise and not, like, because Sophia is seeking wisdom, that is what opens the door to allow the evil to come in, right? To leave this perfect paradise that Yah originally created. So it's like, maybe if it was up to him, if he had the final say, we would just be in a Garden of Eden paradise, and his creation would always be the best versions of themselves possible to ultimately make him look good, right? We are a reflection of our creator. So when humans look like degenerate, corrupt clowns, that reflects on him. And then the spiritual world, especially Satan and those that are anti-human, can go and be like, hey, y'all, look at your creation. They don't know which way is up. They're thinking that they're evolved slime on a giant spinning ball and confused about every little thing. They're drinking their urine. They're crunching on corpses. Like, they're doing all of these evil. And Yah, you are proud of this. Like, you are putting all of these other species, you have to think of, remember, I guess, there's other species that were center stage before humans, right? Especially like the Jinn, the Nakash, which are snakes, Reptilian, like dragons. For anyone who doesn't know, Jinn are beings of smokeless fire, and we'll get into that in just a minute when we talk about Satan. But these other species were center stage before humans. They are a lot more gifted in intelligence. They are usually more magically gifted. The Jinn can shapeshift and live for countless years. So for them, it's like you made us go into the background, like behind the curtain, while this clown species, it gets to be center stage. Like, why are they your favorite? So it's this whole, negative campaign, and they can throw it back in Yah's face because of creation being this way. So the whole point was, what I'm saying is, people will get mad at God for the way the world is. And I'm not saying that we should get mad at God or Sophia, but I'm saying that we should understand the situation and the different roles that these entities are taking in the situation. So like, if you do want to get mad at it, ultimately it's like Sophia is the one that wants wisdom that allows this world to become a clown show, at least temporarily. It's not her desire that it is, but the left-hand path, if you will, the door to evil is allowed open so far so that she can ultimately get the wisdom that she is seeking. Let me check out the live chat really quick. There's some questions here about Baphomet, which is originally an occult symbol for Sophia, who is all physical matter, the humans, the animals, the trees, the birds, the bees, whatever. All physical matter is the mother. That is her wisdom. Knowing that is like a key to unlocking the spiritual world, and getting the attention of the spiritual world in a way that people that don't know that truth, that knowledge, they don't get that attention. And yes. Bob says, I'm interested in these titles available from Amazon Book. Any others worthy of consideration before I place my order? The Essene Gospel of Peace, the complete 4 books. Yes, that's the one that I bought, Bob. It's really, really good. The Gospel of the Holy 12. Yes. Oh, it's funny. You're like listing all of the books that I just bought. The Essene Gospel of Peace. I just bought the Gnostic Gospels book with the Gospel of Mary. the one that I have, the Gospel of Mary, it's like a really fragmented book, and like it's really not readable. The I don't want to say the meat as in a corpse, but the substance to the original text of the Gospel of Mary is not in there. Like it goes from like, Mary, teach us. It's actually really cool because Peter says basically like, Mary, you were the favorite of Jesus. You knew more than we did. He taught you things that he didn't teach us. So please teach us the mysterious teachings. Teach us the hidden things that he taught you that he didn't teach us. So it really goes into talking about how Mary and Christ had this relationship. It's not good for man to be alone, having this Lord and Lady Christ of them having a ministry together. But then it says, Mary, tell us these secrets. And then it'll say, pages 11 through 13 are missing. And then here's the next chapter where Peter's like, what are you talking about? Like whatever she had said to him really triggered something. And, we don't get to read it. But anyways, that was a long story to tell you that there are other books on Amazon that say that they are supposedly the full version of the Book of Mary, and I'm going to be getting that, within the next few weeks. So you might want to look into that before you buy it. To be honest, the Gospel of Thomas has contradicting things to the Gospel of the Holy 12. I am not really a fan of it. It's also really fragmented as well. Maybe the last book, you might not, the Gnostic Gospels, you can get them for free online anyways. So you might not want to get that. But I'll be introducing more books in the future as well. I have some more on the way I'm really excited about. You might want to look into the Clementine homilies. That is one that I just got as well. And it goes into the teachings of Clement, who was a companion, not in a perverted way, but like a companion to the apostle Peter, and was with Peter in his journeys, was there when Peter was giving sermons, was there when Peter was having discourse with different scholars and teachers. And it's a whole book of his recalling of all of these situations to James. So I just started reading that and I'm really, really excited about it. So you might want to look into the Clementine homilies. Yeah. Hey, Scuba Maru, how's it going? Mercy. Just sort of like joking. Okay. Aaron says Baphomet. Baphomet does not belong to the Satanists. They created the photo or symbol we see today. Yes. It's a perversion of an original symbol, meaning / mystery. Some humans are more like a weasel. Yes. All right. JL says, karma have an impact in our next incarnation. Yes, I fully believe that it does. In what we were reading in the Essene Gospel of Peace, our enemy takes tallies basically of all of our evil done. And a lot of times, in this very life, we will pay the consequences. People, are doing evil by eating animals, and they, in consequence, prematurely age themselves. They create an environment of disease, and then they die early, right? And it's not just that, they're also corrupting their soul, because what we do to our bodies, we also do to our souls. Okay. Let us see here. Aaron says, waters above, waters below. Yes. Hey, Abdullah, how's it going? Aaron says, which is not a sorcerer like a black magic Gnostics. Neo or New Age, aka Gnostic, but not all New Age in all fairness. Yes. A witch back in the day, a wise one, someone who, knew the way that herbs and trees and plants have different properties and can be used for healing, for other purposes. And obviously the powers that be, ultimately Satan, didn't like that. Okay. Let me just skim through this really quick. Okay. Abdullah says you straightened your hair. Yes, I straighten it every once in a while. It's not good for my hair, so I don't like to do it all the time, but it does look nice. So, okay, let's get back into this teaching about Sophia. The first time I actually even heard about Sophia was from Proverbs 8. Well, I mean, all throughout the Proverbs it talks about her, but let's see here. My fruit is better than gold, yeah, than fine silver, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of justice or judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his ways, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no foundations abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth. While as yet had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest parts of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depths. When he established the clouds above all. When he strengthened the foundations of the deep. When he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was his daily delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now, therefore, hearken unto me, ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor with the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. How about all that anti-Sophia garbage, the anti-goddess, anti-mother, from all of the religions in general, not like all of them, I guess, but from most of the mainstream religions in general, he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. So yeah, you can read about Sophia in Proverbs in other various places. But anyways, she is the mother of our creator, created him for this role, for creating this realm that we live in. And, a lot of people want to try to say that this is some sort of prison planet. Well, obviously we don't say planet, right? Because we don't live on a giant spinning ball. But a prison, let's just say. Some people want to try to say that this is a prison and that our creator or Sophia must be deranged, must be evil for doing this, right? Well, like we already know, this world is a blank slate that can be good or bad. And when it is bad, Sophia is all physical matter. So every single piece of matter that is being abused she is taking that abuse. So, like, as far as a prison, it's like, first of all, you can leave at any time. You chose to come here, and this is like an exclusive club. There are many, many souls, and there are way more souls outside of this realm than there are inside. Like, there are souls that are not allowed to come into this reality, okay? And mostly like evil souls, ones that are going to come in here and do more evil than is allowed, which kind of leads into Satan, who is set in place by essentially our creator, right? He's contracted to our creator to do what he is doing. And he essentially acts like a filter. So basically he is like the maximum amount of evil allowed into our reality. There's a cutoff limit that the mother says, like, that's as evil as it gets. And outside of this realm, there is more evil. There are darker souls. There are souls that would come into the mother and do more evil than she will tolerate. So it's kind of an interesting aspect to look at as well, that she also does have a limit on, how evil it can get. And this reality that we are in, she has a system, if you will, to punish evil and reward good. And a lot of people, kind of sum that up with karma. And whether you do good or you do evil, it's going to come back to you. So, like, keep that in mind, obviously, with everyday actions, but also knowing that, like, that isn't the case outside of this realm. Well, I guess some would argue that outside of this realm, ultimately there's going to be a hierarchy. Anarchy doesn't work here or there. Like, there's always going to be a soul that essentially rises to the top, whether on like the negative side, like the soul that is the most willing to do evil, the most maybe aggressive, the most violent, the most negative, right? And in that aspect, he's gonna be, he or she, but it's he, he's gonna be the one that's kind of like the one in charge, right? It's not an anarchist state. He's the one that's like, if you do something against his will, he's gonna come after you. And then on the flip side, like, on the lighter side of things, you would have a soul like maybe the Christ that would be like a purifying and rise to the top in a positive way. So you'd have like a hierarchy of control essentially in both the upper vibrations and the lower vibrations, if you are picking up what I'm laying down. So Satan acting like a filter, yes. Satan, as far as the origins of his soul, I have not been revealed that information. So, as far as I know, he could be really like as old of a soul as Sophia, not necessarily like a new soul that, well, he didn't come into existence being the role that he is in now. So he's a jinn, a being of smokeless fire, and they were once center stage on Earth stage. And then when humans came along, as the story goes, as told in Islamic texts, Yah was like, okay, everybody get ready for the big reveal, and shows this statue Adam, and basically says, look at my great creation, everybody bow down, like, clap, pat me on the back type, this is the big reveal. And basically Satan and, his buddies, whatever, they didn't want to bow, right? Satan being the leader, saying, why would he bow to the entity, the human in front of him, when he sees that the human in front of him is inferior to him? It's made out of physical matter. Like, the shape shifting is, not like the jinn can shapeshift, and they don't live very long. They're not very intelligent. So he's can say all these things that is negative about humans, and then say, why would I bow to something like that, right? That's inferior. So this situation happened, and Satan proposes to be the corrupter, the adversary, and he gets to take that role. So he is contracted to do what he does. But before he was contracted, like, he had this personal issue with humans. Like, he was asked to bow to something that was inferior, and he's like, no. He had a chip on his shoulder to begin with, and so he was happy to be in the role of this contractee, and basically get to be in a position where he deceives us, where he tries his best to turn us into clowns, so that he can use it as justification for, like I was saying earlier, look at your creation. You wanted me to bow to that, and look at them. They can't even tell what sex they are. Like, they're confused about everything. So, yes. So they take this anti-human stance and act as the corruptors. If there wasn't this introduction of a corruptor, humans would just be in the Garden of Eden. It's not like the whole inverted clown agenda, those that are running our world, like that doesn't happen naturally. This happens because of the deceiver being added into the equation. If otherwise left to themselves, humans are just innocent and would have just been frolicking around the Garden of Eden and not knowing any different. Then there's this other equation that's added in, and then, well, now we see what has happened after the equation has been added in, and ultimately humans have chosen to follow the temptations of the corruptor and not the the connection to Yah that we all have. I was saying earlier, Yah is all physical matter, Sophia is all physical matter. So, whatever tests and trials and pains that we go through, she goes through as well. But we also have a connection to Yah through our guardian angel. So it's not like he's not there as well. He can kind of distance himself from it more than Sophia can. Obviously, she's our physical vessel, so it's not like she can be like, all right, peace out. Like she's there with us, right? But Yah, as far as the guardian angel connection, you can either strengthen that or you can weaken it. If you are just doing the most corrupt things, like your guardian angel, that connection is going to be weakened over time. And, it's obviously not going to be as strong as someone who is not doing evil, that our creator actually wants to be attached to, closely. And one of the things that just popped into my mind was, all physical matter is Sophia, but when you look at Kirlian photography and like fruit has this life force energy in it, fruits, veg, these things that we're supposed to eat, actually that life force energy comes from Yah. And as the fruit or whatever starts to dissolve and decay, Yah's attachment to that starts to go away, right? Like he's not having this prime connection. I don't know the right prime, but he's not having this strong connection with a diseased and rotting fruit, right? If a fruit falls down to the ground, it's just going to stay there until it starts to rot away. And just like a human, when we die, our soul slowly leaves over time. It's not like an instant thing where you die and then like a soul. It's kind of more like almost like a liquid and being separated over time gradually. So in the same way, it's like the life force energy of a fruit kind of diminishes over time. As soon as you pick the apple, like that's when the best time that you should eat it, right? You should grab it right off the tree as you are ready to put it in your mouth and eat it. And then it has the most life force energy. It's getting all of this energy from the sun. It's growing in the sun and getting all of the nutrients that it needs. You consume that right off the thing. But anyways, the point is that Yah is the one, the life force energy is coming from him when you are having like fruits and vegetables and stuff. But obviously Sophia would be like the physical matter of the apple itself, right? Like she is all the physical pieces. And as that apple rots and decays, even in the final stages of decay, if it's still a piece of matter, like she is still connected to that. So there's a difference between the connections that Yah has with us, with this world, and Sophia has. So I'm kind of getting off on a little bit of a tangent. I'm going to try to stay on topic. David asked the opinion about Zechariah Stitchin, their theory. Zechariah Stitchin was a misinformation agent, and if you look into the actual beliefs of the Sumerians, they were flat earthers. And then Stitchin came along with this whole 13th planet, calling Nibiru a planet. And if you do some research into it, you'll see that Nibiru was a nickname for Jupiter, not an actual separate thing. And the ancient Sumerians didn't believe that they lived on a giant spinning ball. So Zechariah Stitchin's teachings and their theories and whatever is all based on a lie. I think there's actually a whole website called like stitchinwaswrong.com or .org or something. Yes. Anyways, so yes, Levi's asking, what's your view of the reptilians? Reptilians are created by Yah, just like Jinn, just like Nakash, and they are a whole group of beings, not just dragons, but other type of reptiles. They're, you know, how they talk about like those that rule over us hoarding gold and stuff. When I, you know, kind of, I was listening to, Discworld, actually, Terry Pratchett's Discworld, and they mentioned about dragons hoarding gold and laying on gold. And I'm like, wait a second, like it all kind of finally clicked for me. And I'm like, dragons hoarding gold, like those ruling over us in this dragon connection, reptilians, Nakash. So anyways, all of these species have free will and can choose to do good or bad. Ultimately, they, you know, some of them might be pro-human, others might be anti-human, but all of them were once center stage and have been kind of replaced by humans, right? We're taking the role that they once had, being center stage, being essentially Yah's favorite, having our creator's attention, right? If you think about it, and you're a creation, and then a new creation comes along, and then all of a sudden your creator's not focusing on you anymore, you're not receiving the love, the attention, whatever animosities can form, jealousy, different issues, not only between the species and the creator, but also the species and the new species that's coming along and getting all the attention that they used to get. So all of these different things are factored in when we're trying to look at the bigger picture and why we're in the situation that we're in. But yeah, all of these species have free will, and pretty much what it comes down to with every species, whether they like or dislike humans, especially the species that live really long, like Jinn, and even Nakash, like snakes. They can burrow underground really far where no one will mess with them, where they can't be like hunted. They can go for, well, some of them can go for extended periods of time, like with eating only little foods. Some of them are really talented to be able to like actually control their minds and their hearts and their bodily functions to an extent that we really can't understand. Like I can't even really, I can't understand it, so I can't really describe it to you, but they're much more intelligent than us. And they can actually control their heartbeat and all of this stuff. So they can live a really long time. The point being is that ultimately they are self-interested, and they want to do what is necessary to keep themselves safe, keep their lives going, right? If you've lived for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, you've gone through lots of experiences and had, you know, different wisdom, different knowledge, different, you know, maybe you're extremely magically gifted after all that time. Like you just kind of like built up your character. And so losing it is even worse than if you had lost it after 10 years or so, you know? So they're very self-interested and wanting to make sure that they do what they need to do to keep themselves alive. And that can often include putting the differences aside with humans and actually helping to create the golden age, and living in harmony with humans, at least in my domain. As far as outside of my domain, if people want to go out there and hunt, well, then I don't see why the rules of hunt and be hunted isn't on. And there are other species that really like humans and eating humans, and they're a lot better hunters than humans because they're actually natural hunters. So it's kind of like, if you want to go out there and hunt and prey on that innocent little deer, then why is it that I should get in the way of you being hunted by another species that's, you know, that's better at hunting than you? You know, I don't know. I mean, I do know. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm going to say, if you want to go and prey on that species, then they can have at you. Like, that's just fair. Atreus, how's it going? Says YouTube keeps deleting my comments about the UV index. What about it? I'd love to hear about that. Just popped into my mind about sunglasses and suntan lotion, which are obviously not natural. Both of those things I speak against. Our eyes need the light of the sun. It's good for us, and our Creator knew that humans were going to be outside in the sun. They were going to be exposed to the sun for long amounts of time, and it's safe for us, right? The only time that it becomes unsafe is, if they're maybe spraying something in the sky that's causing issues, or if you cake on chemicals onto your skin that maybe either have a bad reaction with getting heated up on your skin, or they're just poisonous chemicals in general. So, yes. All right. Levi says, yes, stitchingiswrong.com. Perfect. Thank you. St. Peter, how's it going? Levi says, what do you think of gray aliens? I personally think that all aliens, are interdimensional entities. I'm not really sure about how, I guess it would be like Ahsoka can take that form if they want, and maybe, I don't really know, as far as if there's like a group that maybe always presents themselves as grays, or this group presents themselves as this. I'm not really sure how that works, but I do know that there's just a whole lot of deception going on with it. And if someone or an entity is like saying they come from outer space and all of this stuff, presenting themselves as space travelers, whatever, then you should definitely understand that there is underlying deception going on, and they shouldn't be trusted no matter what they say, right? They might come in peace and tell you all of these truths, but at the end of the day, it's like you're deceiving us about where we are at a fundamental level. So, yeah. Okay. Bob says there are several species of gray aliens, and I'm guessing that the short grays are common. Interesting. I know that there's like a book, the government book, I don't even know, a secret book of alien races or something like that. I'm not really sure how much of that is true. So, yeah. Abdullah says, how does one find non-poked people? That's a good question. There's a lot of us online, but usually we're getting banned. Poked people are infertile, right? That's a good question. I'm not sure if they are, or if that'll happen in the future. I'm not sure if it'll be 100% of the people, or if it'll have different reactions in different people like every other one does. But I did read early on that, this new novel virus they took coronavirus, a common cold, something that can spread easily, and mixed it with HIV, different sections of HIV protein, different inserts into the coronavirus, and the spike protein coming from HIV. And I don't want to get banned for saying all this stuff. But yes, that famous spike protein that they're talking about being like the nastiest part of HIV, where, long story short, it is designed to target ACE2 receptors. And basically when it finds it, kind of like stab into them like a dagger. And these ACE2 receptors, there's usually a lot in the lungs, in the mouth, and it can cause serious issues, not only short term, but long term. And so it's basically just a matter of time to see what will happen. And like every other one, it's like, two different children can receive the same types of pokes and at the same time, and have two completely different reactions. So it's not just a matter of, health and what the person's eating and where, there's a lot of birds fluttering about, and where they are as far as health, but also your soul, and that kind of comes in with your will to live as well. Bob says, get your mind around gray alien biological robots. Interesting. As far as AI goes, AI shares the soul of its creator. So if we're talking about an AI robot, then they would share the soul of their creator. So whatever they do that's bad or good, that's going to come back for the creator. And that's kind of a good thing to know. Shreya says there's been talk that the UV energy will become so unbearable in the coming years or even months, and that another species will finally reveal themselves. Wow, is that coming from the mainstream, or is that from a different site? Hey, Tyler, how's it going? I do believe that other species are going to be finally revealed, like the veil is already thinning, and the truth is coming to light, right? It's not just flat earth. It's not just the fact that inverts are running our world. It's the truth about Sophia and Satan and Yah, and how they are ultimately, how they originated, how their relationship works, and ultimately why we are here, what we're doing here, and what is the purpose of life. Tyler says the alien deception is near. Yes, Project Bluebeam, right? Aaron said that is the allegory or mystery from Mary in the Quran. The Quran 3:42, 43, and 45. Oh, cool. Allegories that lead to Sophia and mystical understanding. Thanks for that reference. That's really awesome. Yes, the feminine divine is hidden in various places in these religions, but then also demonized by the same ones. So it's interesting. So what else didn't we say about Sophia and Yah and Satan? Satan wasn't always the corrupter, like I was saying before. You know, there's a point in time where Yah introduced this creation of humans, and that was, you know, the breaking point, the turning point, whatever. But before that, Satan, you know, all of Yah's creations, he doesn't create things that are bad. He doesn't create the bad guys. He doesn't create, his creation is perfect and innocent. Like, well, I guess innocent might not be. His creation is perfect, and over time, souls get broken. They become more dark. They become jaded. They become abused in various ways, and you know, they change over time. And Satan is no different. He is not the origin of evil. He's not the first one to be a Satan. Satan being a nickname that just means the adversary. And you know, it's like it can be used for, it's just a nickname, right? So if someone is coming against you, you know, someone could say that that's a Satan. They're acting like a Satan, you know, if they want to use the word looser. Yes. He was not the first Satan. He became one at one point in time, and he has been very broken and yeah, just popped into my mind that he, you know, desperately wants to be loved like a girl, and Yah doesn't let male souls enter into female bodies or vice versa. Ultimately, Satan can't be a girl, so that's his own special issue. He's a fan of man, if you know what I mean, and he likes to dress up in dresses and dance around on stage and be lusted after and praised, and you know, do that whole drag monster thing where it's really flamboyant, over the top, perverted, degenerate, like, and proud of it. And a lot of times that pride is really thin, and it's just kind of like a last effort to try to, for instance, when we all start finding out that these inverts are running our world, they're backed into a corner, and you know, finally they'll just come out with invert pride. They're like, yes, this is what we are, and we're proud of it. Like that's what their final push is. So we're going to be seeing more and more of invert pride, and even worse than that, obviously, pedo pushing. Just, there's even like a TED talk that talks about pedophilia being like normal or something. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't watch it. I probably be sitting here screaming at the screen, because that really irks me when anyone does anything to children. So, Anyways, Tyler says, who knows what they have planned? Just speculation, but whatever they have coming won't be fun. Keep prepping, folks. Yes, I agree completely. Prepping, having food, having water, having extra supplies, especially having them buried so that they can't be taken from you. I know it's tempting to say, you know, come and get my stuff, like you can have it over my dead body, but if we all take our individual stands at home, then we don't have the chance to come together, like survive that and come together and actually be an army together. So yeah, don't get caught up in the wanting to die over your own little stash and not seeing the bigger picture. Aaron says, no problem. This is the article for anyone interested. Oh, thank you. I will pull that up. By the way, Etra says, what is the greatest thing that happened for you this week? I actually went to Reading last night, I guess. I don't know. It was kind of the only eventful thing that happened this week, so I don't know. Besides getting new books, I got the Clementine homilies, so I started to read that, and I'm just really excited about getting new books. But otherwise, I got to go out last night. I went to see a live comedy show, and that was pretty fun. Unfortunately, it did get a little perverted. I really hate. It's just like one of the lowest forms of comedy. It's like I don't want to pay to come and hear about you being sexually frustrated. I don't want to come and hear about you being a pervert. Like I don't want to hear these things. I want to hear something funny. I like dry bar comedy and, you know, things that aren't perverted and about sex. So unfortunately, they did say some sex jokes, very inappropriate, even pushing like pedophilia, making jokes essentially about being like an altar boy and being on their knees and stuff. And also making bestiality jokes, which was really disturbing. But other than that, they did have a few good jokes. So that was fun. I like to go out and about and get all dressed up and have a good time. So, hey, Daniel, how's it going? Daniel says, hey, Queen, I'm just tuning in. Thanks for joining. Aaron says some actors are coming out already. Yes. And with a lot of the actors, we are having the double flipperoo, like Bruce Jenner, who was born a female and then inverted to be the Olympic athlete, and then reverted to do the role that they are playing now. Oh no, my brother just texted me. It's important. Sorry. Okay, that's sad. Okay, I'm gonna have to probably wrap up and go talk to him. Daniel says fasting, only nuts and raisins, a few fluids like coffee and beer right now, since 20 hours right now. Well, that's really good. That is very impressive. Some people, when they do liquid fasting, they'll do water fasting. They'll also include coffee, anything with 0 calories. Obviously, the beer is not considered fasting, but it is really good that you are, purifying yourself, even if it's anybody who's listening, even if it's just a baby step. If you're eliminating, one thing at a time, keep going. I understand it is not easy to change the lifestyle that you have been living, but it definitely is worth it. Aaron says, I love reading too. Reading about 6 different books right now. That's great. I think I got about 4 going. So I'm getting there. And I have two being delivered on Tuesday and 1 being delivered on Thursday or Wednesday. So I'm going to have a lot going. I'm really, really excited about it. There's like a bunch of Essene books. For Bob, another one that I just ordered. I haven't read it yet, so I can't exactly recommend it, but I think it's called Jesus and the Lost Teachings of the Goddess or something to that effect. Jesus and the Lost Teachings of the Goddess. Jesus and the Goddess, the secret teachings of the secret teachings of the original Christians. So that is one of the books that I have going. Race Lover says, I would have went with the phrase pedo-peddling instead of pushing. Yeah, pretty much. Yep, exactly. JL says, I don't understand. Satan was chosen before or after turned bad, and why Satan destroys the earth too and not just humans. Satan took animosity with humans. So he said, no, he was good, right? He was good. And then Yah says, here's my new creation, bow down. And then he says no. So there was a point where he decided to rebel against God, and that was it. So from the text, it actually says that he's the one that suggests that he would become he suggested that he would be the one that becomes the corrupter to be contracted to do this role. And as far as him destroying the earth, he actually gets humans to do it. So, the ones that are spraying the chemtrails, the ones that are doing all of the evil, like as much as possible, getting humans to do it. Humans being the ones that choose to, a lot of times, like the whole capitalism mentality and cutting corners and making plastic, right? Like stuff to fill up landfills, just doing practices that make us look the worst. And that's kind of what Satan has been influencing us to do, using inverts or whatever, but he gets us to do it so that he can say, look at them and look at what they're doing. It's not actually him that's doing the evil. He's just giving us the choice, and humans are choosing to do it. So he would probably argue that it's not him that is destroying it. And like I said, get humans to it. Atreya says, might have to start a farm of legumes and potatoes instead of oranges. Yum for potatoes. You can basically live off of potatoes for an extended period of time. Tyler says, so we don't fight. I say choose your battles wisely. And for me, it's like if they show up on my door, they already have laws on the books that they can come and confiscate your food supplies, your stockpiles, in case of emergency. Some executive orders that say that they can come and commandeer your stuff. So I'm just gonna, sit there and say, you can have what you can find. And I'm going to sit there smiling while they find nothing and then leave empty handed because my stuff is buried. Like they can't have it. And then we live to see another day. So choose your battles wisely instead of fighting over your stockpile, plan ahead for the confiscations and actually live through it, right? Choose the wise path where you don't put you, or especially like if you have significant other or especially children, like you don't want a situation where you have children behind you and you're like, okay, you can take our stuff over my dead body. And then, your kids are either left without a parent or they're taken out in the action. Like we don't know what will actually happen. We don't know what timeline they will choose. Nothing is actually guaranteed. So yeah. We'll have to just wait and see, but preparing for the worst and hoping for the best is definitely the way to go. Atreya says, yeah, comedy went down over the last decade. Yes. More and more just absolute perversion. And then they can desensitize us to like the word, like the person, I was going to say the guy, but it wasn't even a guy. Like, the person last night that I was listening to at the comedy show was like I said, talking about bestiality at one point, and like the majority of the crowd is laughing, and I'm just sitting there like, what? Like, did this person really just say whatever they said? I think they were talking about their dog and peanut butter, and you can put two and two together, the whole cliche thing. Yeah. Disgusting. And the whole crowd almost is laughing, and I'm like, really? That's not funny. He's talking about like having sex with an animal. What is wrong with you people? That's not funny. That's gross. Bobby Bright says, is a Horus eye symbol represent our pineal gland? I have seen the diagrams and stuff representing that. So that does make a lot of sense. And also the one eye symbolism, if you look into more ancient cultures and what they actually like said that the eye stood for the eye of providence, the all-seeing eye of God, that, you know, everything is being watched and judged. There is an eye that sees everything, you know, eyes, whatever. But yeah, and along that line, everything with the pineal gland has a soul. It's like it's a connection that, you know, apples don't have a soul, but a cow does, right? Because the cow has a pineal gland. They have a soul inside. Well, the cow is a soul, technically. The body itself is Sophia, and inside of the body there is a soul of another being, empowering that body, feeling the pain, feeling the pleasure, whatever. Daniel says doing a beer contest, but only very mild. Oh gosh. To be honest, beer is grody. Fasting with the Most High, absolutely. And along that note, on Saturdays, I am doing like a weekly dry fast for the Sabbath. If you want to join for purification, and I'll be back on Facebook in a few hours, so I'll be posting to the dry fasting community. We're going to start the year off in the middle of January already with a dry fast, a group dry fast, 24 hours. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. There were a lot of new people that wanted to start dry fasting, and unfortunately Facebook banned me, so I wasn't able to start off on the right foot. But here we go. Aaron added about the eye of Horus. It's also a protection symbol and represents other good qualities like unity. Oh gosh. Just got a really long text from my brother. Okay. Daniel says, Inanna, you must visit me here because I can't travel as I will never get jabbed. You think I'm going to get jabbed? I'm not either. I won't get jabbed. I'm not going to wear a mask. But that being said, anyone who wants to come out to Mount Shasta and meet me, I have full moon celebrations every summer. And I am up there from, you know, sundown to sunup. People stay and hang out around the fire, and we can talk and have a great time. So I definitely encourage people to come out there. Levi says, I have to run and get some food. See you later. See ya. Thanks for joining. Tyler says, I think if they come for your supplies, they are going to take your prisoners. Take you prisoner. Well, they might have an order. They might have a green light to go and take supplies, but they don't have a green light to actually take the person. Like they have their own, you know, as messed up as their system is, there is a system that they do, you know, that they work within, especially when it comes to karma. Tyler says they will most likely not just let you go. Also think in times of war and chaos, being a woman with tyrannical troops or foreign forces might not be good, if you get what I'm saying. It's sad but true. Yes, unfortunately, that is very true. I think it's really important to, you know, have a connection at least with your sheriff, the law of the land, and trying to make sure that he is a real human, a real male, a real female, whichever the case may be. And making sure that ultimately, when it comes down to it, that they are going to protect you. They are the law of the land. If they know their rule, as messed up as the system is, there is, you know, there's laws in place that the sheriff can, if the federal government tries to come in and take our stuff, you know, the sheriff is the one that's supposed to stand up and be the one that protects the people and says, no, this isn't happening. I'm not going to enforce these laws. In fact, if you try to come against my people, I'm going to come against you. And that's the kind of sheriff that, you know, is worth his weight in gold. Also, you know, being friends with your neighbors and having connections like that is really important. Daniel says, Ananda, did you check my SoundCloud recently? I heard from your mouth you'd be into music too. Yes. I have not checked your SoundCloud recently, no. I'm not sure that SoundCloud works at my house. My internet service provider is really selective about what websites I can load, and unfortunately, it's the only one around here, so very irritating. Abdullah says, everyone's thoughts about ayahuasca. There's a documentary, I think it's on YouTube, available. Let me see. Kentucky ayahuasca, and I'm not sure where I saw it because I'm not sure if it actually lets you watch it online for free here. But anyways, I've seen some pretty interesting documentaries and even the series Kentucky Ayahuasca, and especially when it comes to natural things, I am open to those. Mainly during the golden age, I think that there's a time for, partying and having a fun, and a time for being serious in war and keeping our minds straight. So it's like, as we're going into war, we need to be cautious. But during the golden age, I definitely make sure that, especially the things that Mother Earth provides for us, like the different drugs, different medications, different things that she provides that are natural, are what is available and promoted. Not having people locked up in jail for growing a plant. You know what I'm saying? And it's the opposite of what is now, where fake and processed and the worst chemical processed, right? They take like natural plants and then process them and then give them to us, rather than letting us have the actual plant itself. Any way that we can be corrupted is the agenda. But during the golden age, that's not going to be the case. We don't want to have the hard drugs, the meth, the crack, and all of these things that are really harmful to humans being what is promoted. And we all know that, our good alphabet soup CIA and other government rulers, our nice dictators, are the ones who are giving out the best of the drugs. You go hear about these hippie gatherings and big Woodstock and what is a Burning Man, all of these things. And then you have these people going around giving out the best acid for free and all of these other drugs. It's like our government is feeding these into the population. And especially when it comes to the traveling community, people that are literally off the grid because they don't have homes, right? They might either be homeless or they travel in an RV or something. Like, these people are the uncontrolled elements who are living off the grid. And by having this whole, the whole community under their lock and key with different leaders, hippie leaders, the ones that are giving out all the free acid, they can keep control of these uncontrolled elements. And that's ultimately what they are constantly trying to do. Keep us under control, and even in the awakening, they've put the whole network of inverted shills to try to gatekeep, to try to keep us under their control. That's what it keeps coming back to. Keep us asleep too. Everyone's thoughts about Jordan Peterson. I have no idea who Jordan Peterson is. But like I said, I am going to have to wrap this up because my brother needs my attention. Are you Aquarian born? I am a Virgo with a Libra moon and Scorpio rising. Tyler says, group up or die, stay strapped or get clapped. I pray to find a group of like-minded people to hold down some property with. Yes. I encourage everybody to come to Mount Shasta because it is the meeting place of heaven and earth, and what happens at the root ultimately determines what happens at every other part of the tree. And the golden age is what starts here. So Abdullah says, do sheriffs like that exist? I hold on to hope. I do. Tyler says, why don't you just get your internet from satellites, right? Daniel says, of course it works through any internet connection. I'm not really... Yeah, it should work, but like my internet doesn't let me on Twitter. It doesn't let me on MeWe. I can basically get on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. But a lot of other websites, like maybe blog sites or sites that people upload like vegan recipes, a lot of times the search will time out and it won't let me on it. So my internet's really stupid. But anyways, guys, I am about to get off here. As far as cashmere wool goes, wool in general, not a popular opinion, but we have created an issue where these sheep are being bred to overproduce wool, and that could actually cause issues if they're not taken care of. And obviously, it's just like, if you have a dog that has long hair, you can go to a groomer, and that groomer will either treat your dog really nicely and, give them a great experience with that haircut, or they toss them around and abuse them, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to wool, a lot of times they are abusing the sheep, and they're not doing it gently. They have competitions to see how fast people can shear sheep, and it's like they're really risking hurting the sheep and everything. So we have a responsibility to take care of these sheep and make sure that they're not getting overheated. They can get like bacteria and even feces or whatever in the back ends, and because their hair is overgrown unnaturally, like it can get caught, they can get infections. If they're outside and they have overgrown wool, like I was saying before, they can get overheated, but they can also get stuck in places, right? They're out exploring if they're allowed. And they can get stuck in places, which makes them like they would be stuck there and die, right? Like they either just stand there and wait for someone to let them out. They either stand there and die, or they stand there and they become the prey. So we have an obligation to take care of these species. And that's not just sheep, that's with any of the species that we have caused issues with. We have to take care of them and make sure that what we've like we stop purposefully breeding them into existence, stop with all the unnatural artificial insemination, basically let them go free. And then when they need haircuts, we need to make sure that we give them to them in the nicest way possible so that they're taken care of. It's just our responsibility. So, yes, Abdullah A, we're not going to go there for right now. All right, guys, I am getting off of here. I really appreciated this chat, and I will be back with you on Wednesday at 3:33. So make sure that you set your alarm and come hang out with me. Until then, I hope that you have a wonderful week. May God and the goddess bless you.